for public comment. One will be in a few moments, and the other one will be prior to adjournment of the meeting. We always start this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then if you could remain standing, we'll have a brief moment of silence. Commissioner Burek, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you please remain standing, we'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you all very much. I was reminded when Mr. Burek started the pledge, the three of us were at a meeting last night of the Neshannock, or excuse me, it was in Neshannock Township, but it was of the county municipal tax collectors. And the gentleman who heads that organization is from Scott Township, Dan Kroback. And Dan had inquired of the restaurant as to whether or not they had a flag, and evidently they didn't. So he brought a flag with him, and he pointed out that it was over 60 years old because it had 48 stars.
Like that.
So it was before Alaska and Hawaii. So I was reminded of that when we did the pledge. To establish a quorum, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Burek?
Present.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here, we have our quorum. As I noted, we'll have two opportunities for public comment, one in just a few moments and then prior to adjournment. We ask if you have a comment that that it be related to matters involving county government. If it's a state matter, we suggest you talk to your state senator, state representative. The same would be true if it's a federal matter. You talk to Congressman Kelly or the staff of either Senator Fetterman or Senator Casey. And if it's a local borough or township or city matter, we would recommend you speak to your officials there. But if it's a county matter, this is the right place and the right time. Next item on the agenda would be row officer reports and comments. None of our row officers are here today, so we'll move on to public comment. I'll open the floor. If you wouldn't mind saying who you are and where you're from, but if you have a question or comment, this would be the first time of two that we would open it up. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm Bob Burchett. I live in Neshannock Township, and I'm here with a stupid idea. I don't know how often you people get stupid ideas, but I come here with a stupid idea. How do I know it's a stupid idea? Because the man from Mahoney Township indicated in the paper that it was a stupid idea to rescind the extra fee on their license plates. And I beg to differ with them that I do not think it's a stupid idea. I recall when it was first enacted, the county didn't have to enact this fee. They did it. They chose to do it. And at the time they indicated they really didn't need the money, all right? Now, it's only a $5 fee, and a lot of times people don't worry about it. But this fee was enacted, and shortly after it was enacted, I saw in the paper where the county had hired a person to work on the computers. I thought, oh gosh, all that money they're going to collect is going to go out the door, paying a guy to collect the money. But that wasn't the case at all. They snuck it in. They didn't have the nerve to bill me. They put it on my license fee. And a lot of times this kind of slides in and you have no idea that it's going to go on. Now, I'm against that fee because Pennsylvania does, maybe the man from Mahoney does need the money for his roads, but Pennsylvania has one of the highest taxes on gasoline in the country. I was almost ready to go over to East Palestine and tell Shapiro to fill his tank up while he's in Ohio. It would save him a little bit of money, all right? But I didn't quite do it. But anyway, that's off the subject. But I'm against this fee. Yeah, it helped Morgan Boyd balance the budget, okay? It helped him balance the budget. And for the county people, they were able to get a bonus, all right? And every time I'd see this fee coming, I'd think of that Morgan Boyd. And so I really don't want to think of Morgan Boyd. So if I get this off my license fee, I will feel better. Okay, so much for that, all right? Now, the second thing on my mind is the Lawrence Village Plaza deal. I don't understand how this happens, and you people can correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understood it, that the plaza, like many plazas, it's financial trouble. It's a sign of the times. But the taxes were still there. And somehow the municipalities kept taxing, and the socialists have a funny thing, a way of working things. They tax you and they regulate. And I saw that exactly same thing happening at the Orange Village Plaza. They would tax and they regulate. They regulated them so much they wouldn't give them a permit to have a new building, get new people come in. And then they wonder why the guy's not working, all right? But anyway, somehow they have a great idea there. You know, get some money from the federal government. We'll buy this place now, and we'll distribute it. Now, I didn't. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't see any bids coming out for that 300 feet along Route 65 for the hot dog stand. No, I didn't see anything there. And why didn't I get a chance to bid on that Kmart building? I don't know. Maybe I didn't read the paper close enough. But were there any bids? I don't know. Now, I just feel it's not quite American, the way that thing's been done. And it's maybe too late now, but I doubt whether that money should have gone to those people to begin with. But the way the government works, anything goes, all right? But I think our district attorney should look into the fact that the things were done behind closed doors. The sunshine law was not even, it wasn't even daylight, let alone sunshine, when these people were distributing the money to their buddies. Okay, well, that's enough.
We thank you for
Okay.
joining us. We appreciate your comments, and as I noted before we adjourn, we'll open it up in case you have other comments
All right.
at that point. So thank you both. Any other public comments? Thank you very much. In a few moments, each commissioner is given an opportunity to talk, so we may have some answers to what you raised. I didn't want you to think we were ignoring you, but we have a couple other items of business to tend to, and then we'll get to that, including under fiscal and contractual. The county controller's office, almost on a weekly basis, provides us with documents known as warrant registers, which is a compilation of the various checks that have been cut by the controller's office. These two registers are dated April 20 and April 18. They are in our packets, and they're here if anybody wishes to see them. I'll give my colleagues the time that they would need to look them over. And once you've done that, I could entertain a motion to accept these documents.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Are there any questions from either of you? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call to accept the warrant registers, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Next on the agenda, we have the minutes of the April 18, 2023 Commissioners meeting. And again, I'll give Mr. Burek and Mrs. Steelvogel some time to look them over. And whenever you're ready, I could take a motion to adopt these minutes, please.
I so move.
Second.
Thank you both. Any comments or concerns about the minutes? Hearing none, I'll ask Vanessa to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. We move down to under item 6, Roman numeral 6, Commissioner reports and comments. And according to the list here, Loretta, you're first today, please.
Thank you, very good. I wanted to keep my comments limited, but since there has been somebody from the audience that has chosen to speak, I feel the need to just address some of the issues that you brought up, sir. First of all, the $5 fee can only be used for specific items relating to the roads, particularly in that area. The entire $5 comes to the county to be used to distribute as we see fit to assist our municipalities and maybe ourselves as well. The gas tax that you speak of, that is something that we didn't institute, and we only get part of that money to come back to Lawrence County. So that is something that we have no control over what the prices are. That was legislatively done in Harrisburg. So those are just some things I wanted to clear up. We also, the IT that you were talking about, that money came from our rescue plan funds. And that was an upgrade that's being continually done as we go through these couple of years. So none of that $5 fee money was used for the IT upgrades that we have. And the money that was given to Shenango for their work that's being done on the plaza was given to their Economic Development Corporation to use as they see fit to improve that area. So as far as the money that we gave to them, how we did that is everything was in accordance with the Sunshine Law. And it didn't require that things go up for bid from our end. I just wanted to clarify those things for you. I appreciate you being here and thank you for your comments.
Is that all?
I did have one thing that I wanted to bring up because it is it is current, and I think we stopped talking about it for a little bit. It is about the train derailment. That we just had something this morning from Governor Shapiro's office that they have a new interactive soil and water sampling map. So just briefly, the results, what is stated by Rich Negrin, who is the acting secretary of the Department of Environmental Protection, results so far indicate that the chemicals from the derailment have not been detected in either soil or water. And we will continue to sample to ensure that there is not any contamination spreading from the derailment site. There is a map that shows the key details from the derailment, including the location, the 2-mile radius that had been evacuated, including final sample results from the soil, surface water, private drinking water wells, and public system wells there are available on that site. And the site is gis.dep.pa.gov/Ohio derailment testing. And information is available on that site. So if anybody wants to check on anything, that it is available on that site. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing that. That news was somewhat of a relief, I would say, as far as the test results.
Most definitely.
Glad to hear that.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Commissioner Spielvogel. Commissioner Burek?
Thank you, Commissioner Vogler. Thank Mr. Burchett for his comments. Regarding the $5 fee, I'm going to have a lengthy statement here later in the meeting when we vote on this. We may take action today on this ordinance that's been on the table. So I will address that. I appreciate hearing your opinion. And regarding the funding for the Shenango Township project, that was voted on prior to me being appointed. So I don't have all the details on how that came about, but I'll address the other issue when we get to that ordinance. That's my only comments this morning.
Thank you very much. I have a couple things to note. Earlier today, the three of us had a very pleasant meeting with the director of the Lawrence County, Visit Lawrence County. I still want to say the Tourist Promotion Agency.
I say it as well. I do. I say it as well.
Janet Volatico and 2 of her volunteer board members met with us for about 45 minutes. And the update was it was uplifting just to
Yes.
hear all of the activities that they've undertaken. Commissioner Spielvogel sits on their board of directors. I did at one time, and Mr. Burek did at one time. But they have released, and I'll make these available for anybody who wants them, the 2023 Visitors Guide. And so please, before you leave, I'll be glad to give you one. I would offer that if anybody says, oh, there's nothing to do in Lawrence County, take a look at this. There's a lot to do in Lawrence County. Secondly, I want to congratulate Commissioner Spielvogel. As we've said many times, Lawrence County is in a unique position. We are members of two different regional planning commissions. We belong to the Northwest Regional Planning Commission. We belong to the Southwest Pennsylvania Commission, which deals with planning and development. And the bylaws of those two organizations differ a little bit in terms of the composition of their boards of directors. For Southwest, all three commissioners sit on the Southwest board, along with, is it a 10-county region, I believe, for SPC? With the other 9 counties, there are commissioners from all the other counties as well. And for Allegheny, it's Mr. Fitzgerald, county executive. Northwest is structured a little bit differently. In Northwest, the counties that belong, and I believe there are 8 of them, their bylaws are such that only one commissioner from each county sits on their board. So the way we've divvied it up is that, again, for Southwest, all 3 of us sit as voting members of the board. For Northwest, when Mrs. Spielvogel and Mr. Boyd took office, we agreed that I would be the lead person for the Northwest Commission. Currently, I chair that board up in the Northwest. So fast forward, just within the last few weeks, with Mr. Boyd having left, he was serving as a member of the Southwest Executive Committee. And of course, when he resigned as commissioner, he stepped aside from that board as well. They reached out to me in my capacity as chair of this board to see if I wished to serve on the SPC Executive Committee. I deferred. I think that my role at Northwest is occasionally time-consuming. And I just thought it was more important that another commissioner amongst the 3 of us serve on the Southwest Executive Committee. And so yesterday, that organization held a meeting, and Commissioner Spielvogel was chosen to be Lawrence County's representative on the Executive Committee for the Southwest Commission. I think there's a good connection there as well, since Loretta also serves on the board of the County Economic Development Corporation / Forward Lawrence. So I think there's a good connection. So I want to congratulate Loretta on being chosen to serve on the executive committee of SPC. And I know she'll do a good job. So
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Finally, as Commissioner Burek mentioned, later in the meeting, we will discuss and possibly consider this matter involving the $5 fee. So I'll withhold my comments for the time being until we get to that point. So, but again, thanks everybody for your input today. We do appreciate it. We will move along under new business, public safety. I don't see Chad here. You didn't hear from him, did you, Vanessa?
No.
Okay. Well, let's bring these up.
Right.
And if there are questions that you folks have, we can always ask Chad to come next week.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have a comfort level, we can consider it today. So let's look at the first proposed resolution. This would allow us to move forward to apply for an Act 147 Radiation Emergency Response Grant in the amount of $7,392. This is known as the RERF, Radiation Emergency Response Fund, It is administered by the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, and it provides funds for the Lawrence County Department of Public Safety to improve response capability and to serve as a support county for the Beaver Valley Nuclear Plant Facility in Beaver County. So we are eligible to apply for this grant of $7,392. This resolution would allow us to move forward with that. I'm going to see what you folks wish to do. If you're both of a mind that you want to move with it today, I wouldn't object, but I'll start with Mr. Burek.
No, I'm ready to move for its adoption.
Same here,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I only worry if Chad's not here, what's going on that is keeping him from being here.
Right.
That's the only thing I'm concerned
I
with.
thought the same thing.
Yes.
But if you're both
No
comfortable
problem.
with
I
going
think we
with
can,
this today.
yes, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, this is something we've been getting for many years. When I was commissioner previously, I was very involved with the local emergency planning committee. And at least once or twice a year, we have exercises where we
Yes.
talk about what we would do because we have a neighboring county with a nuclear power plant, what we would do in various scenarios. So this is an important grant to continue to provide training for all the local people in case we hope we never need to activate the plant, but we do have to be prepared if there was ever an incident at the Beaver Valley nuclear power plant. So,
Well, I appreciate you're both willing to move ahead, and it appears you're comfortable with what is
Yes.
proposed. What number would this be?
128.
This is proposed resolution 128. Any other comments or discussion? Would someone care to make a motion?
I already did. Sorry, I already did.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
I'll
are you willing to second? Thank you both.
Sure.
Further comments or questions? I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Burek?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Also from the Department of Public Safety, this is a proposed resolution. This would be number 129. This involves the Hazardous Material Response Fund, which is administered by the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. It provides funds for the development of emergency response capabilities to the dangers which hazardous material releases may pose to the general public. In order to be eligible for these funds, the grant application must be submitted to the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency by May 8 of this year. And we would be eligible to receive $8,382 from this grant. Once again, I'll open it up. If you have questions, you prefer to wait, or if you want to move today, I'll start with Loretta.
I'm ready to move, and I will move for its acceptance.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Burek,
Second.
thank you. And any other comments or questions, Brian?
Just that I was out at the public safety building here recently, and we have vehicles and supplies ready and available if needed. Again, we hope these incidents are few and far between, but we do have hazardous materials moved through the county by truck and by rail. But we do have the equipment and the people that are trained to respond if that happens. So this, again, it's my understanding it's an annual grant to continue to be ready for those situations if and when they arise.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. If there are no other concerns, I'll ask for a roll call for resolution 129.
So moved.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
that's all right. No problem.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Burek?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Move it again.
You just wanted to be sure. That's okay. Thank you. Mr. Miller is with us from planning. I assume, Alan, if you don't mind coming up so your comments can end up in the recording. I assume Alan Miller is with our county planning and community development department. And what he has in terms of proposed resolution 130 is the possible awarding of a bid to Youngblood Paving for the street improvement project in the borough of Elwood City. According to this document, Youngblood, which is based in Lawrence County down in New Beaver, they were the lowest responsible bidder for this project of $162,345.03. This project will be paid for with community development block grant.
The number of dollars coming from CDBG is around $109,000. Elwood City is putting up the rest of the money. And they're paving 5 streets with sections of streets within the borough. 10th Street, between Beaver and Crescent, Bell Avenue between 8th and 9th, Park Avenue between 7th and 8th, and 7th Street between Wayne and Woodland, and Woodland Avenue between 7th and 6th.
You know, the one street I didn't recognize was Woodland. I'll have to someday, next time I'm in Elwood, try to find Woodland. All the other streets I can picture in my mind, but Woodland must be well hidden. But you answered my question. I was going to ask you if you knew which streets they're planning to resurface.
I kind of figured you'd want to know.
Thank you. Let me see if Mr. Burek has any questions.
I assume Elwood City Borough already passed a resolution to commit the remaining funds for this project,
I believe they have, but I cannot answer that question.
but our resolution states that they'll pay the balance, so I have no other questions. I'll support the resolution.
Thank you, Brian. Loretta?
Nothing.
No? Okay. Good. This is proposed resolution 130. May I have a motion, please?
Move for adoption.
Second.
Thank you both. Any other questions or concerns? I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Alan, thank you as always. Appreciate your joining us.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay, but if you have other things to do, we understand. Thanks, Alan.
Can I interrupt and ask one question? Maybe you've seen other things over the past several years. Have you seen the bids for paving projects come in higher over the last couple of years than what they were?
Yeah,
previously?
that's part of the reason why this one exceeds the amount of money that we have available for it through CDBG and why Elwood City's picking up the rest of the tab. It's because it exceeded what our original costs were estimated to be.
Do you have a ballpark idea how much paving costs have gone up in the last few years, a percentage, a ballpark guess, estimate?
I do not, I don't normally deal with these, but yeah, I know that that's been an issue.
You've seen other bids coming in
Yeah,
higher for the
we've
cost of
seen-
paving.
Usually the bids come in higher than what our original cost estimates were. But I don't have exact figures.
That's what I've been told from others, and I just wanted to see if you verify that. Seems to be that they're coming in a lot higher. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
It
welcome.
happened with the city of Newcastle as well with their Enterprise Park project.
I'm not sure you have to-
$1 million worth, definitely exceeding the $1 million.
Alan, thank you again.
Thank you, Alan.
And so we have adopted resolution 130. The next proposed resolution is 131. This is a budget amendment dealing with the victim witness program. And as I'm reading this, it looks as though we are decreasing dollars from a number of line items under the victim witness program, and then transferring some of those dollars into the general fund victim witness expense fund account. But there are quite a few listed here: salaries of staff, employee insurance, FICA, unemployment, workers' comp, materials and supplies. And there is a breakdown given, but Joe, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you have any other?
I believe the allocation from the state, just reading the finalized, the allocation from the state was less than what was originally anticipated.
I see,
Come in.
which leads us to have to adjust the budget accordingly. And most, all but one of these are decreases in revenue, so I follow what you're saying. Let me see if Mr. Burek has questions.
Well, I understand that. I've just wondered if there's a vacancy or a part-year vacancy in the who is the victims witness coordinator? When I was here years ago, it was Kathy Bertelman.
No.
Who's here now? Is there a full-time person or a part-time person in that position?
Chrissy Montague.
Yes.
That's it.
Chrissy Montague. I quit. Yes.
Mrs.
Yes, she's
Berlin
there.
retired a while back, but I
Yeah,
know,
I
yes,
figured
yeah.
she did.
nice woman, though, very nice woman. But so your understanding, Joe, is that
Yeah.
the amount received was less than we had budgeted. We have to make this adjustment accordingly. Was this presented to us, do you know, by the controller's office or by the
Dave-
courts?
Dave sent it to me.
Mr. Prestipine did? Okay, so this did come from the controller's office. That's helpful to know as well. Other questions, Loretta or Brian? Okay, well, that being said, and thank you, Joe and Vanessa, for your assistance. May I have a motion then to approve proposed resolution 131?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes?
motion carries.
Thank you very much. Proposed resolution 132 is before us. And this involves the jail IRP grant, which is Intercept and Reentry Program. And as I'm reading this, it looks as though this may be the opposite of what we just discussed.
Yes.
Additional unanticipated revenue that has come in for this program. And we are adjusting the line items accordingly, according to this proposed resolution. Vanessa, did this come from Mr. Prestipine as
It did,
well?
yes.
Okay,
He
that
emailed me both of
that
these.
gives me comfort when the controller, obviously he's looked into it, he and his staff. And, but let me see, I'll see if Loretta has any questions or concerns.
This is just normal grant processing and money's coming in for different programs that happen at the jail.
Thank you. Mr. Burek?
No other questions.
Okay. Would then a motion would then be in order to approve proposed resolution 132?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Proposed resolution 133 is a budget transfer of $505. This comes from the Voter Services Office. They are taking the $505 from the Commissioner's contingency line item, transferring it into the Voter's Office Unemployment UC Trust line item. It was insufficiently budgeted, so we're asking for this $505 transfer. Before I take a motion, let me see if there's any questions.
No.
Brian, anything?
No.
Okay, is there a motion then to approve resolution 133?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Comments or questions? I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. And then number 7 is a request for a transfer from the county coroner. He's asking for a $4,702 transfer. It does say from the contingency, which would be his office's contingency, into his software line item. I'll ask if there are any questions about this.
I have none.
Okay, hearing no questions, a motion would be in order to approve the transfer.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you both. If there are no other comments, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much. That takes care of new business as far as new resolutions. We still have a proposed resolution from last year on the table regarding the Economic Development Corporation. Unless someone wishes to take it off the table at this time, it can stay there. Okay, thank you. Next, under ordinances, we do have on the table proposed ordinance number 1 of 2023, which would rescind ordinance number 4 of 2020. Ordinance number 4 implemented the fee of for local use, which would allow the county to impose a fee of $5 for each non-exempt vehicle registered to an address located within its borders. This proposed ordinance number 1 is on the table, and I'll just see if at this time, either of you wish to take it off of the table for consideration?
I would make a motion that we take it off the table for discussion and final action.
I will second.
Thank you both. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. So the ordinance has been taken off the table and it can now be considered for final action. I will note that when we ultimately vote, and we're certainly going to take time to discuss it, but when we ultimately vote, an affirmative vote for this proposed ordinance would eliminate the $5 fee. A negative vote would allow the $5 fee to remain. That's how I'm interpreting this. I trust you are as well.
Yes.
Okay. So we have in front of us for final action, we've taken it off the table. May I have a motion for us to consider it, and then we'll open it up for discussion amongst ourselves.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. There's been a motion made to consider this ordinance, and we'll open it up for comments, and I will start with Commissioner Spillvogel.
I'll defer to Commissioner Burek.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Burek?
First, I want to thank you both for giving me time to research this issue. When I was first appointed, this issue was already on the agenda on the table, and I asked for a little bit of time to research this issue. Regard to our guest comments, when I first heard about this 3 years ago, I felt the same way. We already have very high tolls in Pennsylvania on the turnpike. We have very high gas tax in Pennsylvania. And I thought, there goes our government officials again, adding another fee to our vehicle registration. I personally, me and my wife and children, we own 3 vehicles that cost me $15 more a year. So I was opposed to that as a private citizen. When I first was reappointed as commissioner a few weeks back, my initial feeling was to vote to rescind that. And I've heard from several people, both in person and by phone, in support of repealing that ordinance. But to be fair, I wanted to do more research into the issue. There are 3 main funding sources that the county receives each year to help fund road and bridge projects. There's actually 5 funds. 2 of them are specifically for the 27 county-owned bridges. The other 3 can be used for road and/or bridge projects. First is liquid fuels, which we get from the state gas tax, is reallocated back to each county and to each municipality. The next, there's an Act 13 fund that's the oil and gas well impact fee. And if you remember a few years ago when the drilling in our Western Pennsylvania started, we did receive a significant amount of money from that fund as well, because obviously where there's drilling wells, there's a lot of truck traffic heading to those areas, and that does have a negative impact on the roads. And then the third fund is the County Local Use Fund, which has been noted was implemented in 2020 with the passing by the County of Lawrence of Ordinance number 4. Now, I reached out to many individuals and municipal officials, and it's no surprise that almost every municipal official I talk to supports keeping the $5 fee. I met with the city of Newcastle, the mayor and the city council, and they unanimously support keeping that. I've received letters from the Shannon Township Board of Supervisors. All 3 of them support keeping the $5 fee. I got a letter yesterday from the North Beaver Township Supervisors. All 3 of them support that. Personally, I've talked to a Shenango Township Supervisor who actually came to our meeting last week. And I met with the Wilmington Township Supervisors. They were all at the last Lawrence County Planning Commission meeting. And it's very easy to see why. Local officials, one of their main jobs is to maintain the roads in their municipality. And this local use fund is another source of money that they can tap into for their local road and bridge projects. So I took their opinion with the understanding, of course, everybody likes to have more access to money to spend on what they want and need to spend money on. But I dug a little bit further. And just bear with me just a couple more minutes.
Sure, you're fine.
Because this impacts every vehicle, this issue impacts every person who owns a vehicle here in Lawrence County. I asked the controller's office for a report on how much the county receives in liquid fuels fund. And his computer system was able to generate a report going back to 2009. And in the last 14 years, liquid fuels allocation in Lawrence County maxed out in 2012. That was 11 years ago. It went down after that and went back up. And then most recently in 2017, the Lawrence County received $342,879. It dropped in 2018. It dropped again in 2019. And we all know what happened in 2020 when the pandemic hit. Many people reduced the amount of miles they drive, and the amount of gas sold in Pennsylvania went down. Therefore, the revenue from the state gas tax went down significantly. I'm a perfect example. At the time, I was working for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania out of an office in Butler, PA. I was driving 60 miles a day round trip, 240 miles a week, and over 1,000 miles a month driving back and forth to work. I started teleworking from my home computer, and the amount of miles I drove and the amount of gas I bought dropped off significantly. Just between 2017 and 2022, the Lawrence County allocation of liquid fuels funds dropped almost $70,000. And now, as we all know, over the last several years, the percent of vehicles sold that are hybrid or electric vehicles is increasing every year. And so right now, the projections are that the gas tax revenue, which is given back to the counties and municipalities in the way of liquid fuels allocations, can continue to remain low for the foreseeable future and may even continue to decrease. As much as I would like to save myself money and all the car owners in the county, I had to balance what I believe is in the best interest of the county overall. If you drive around Newcastle and around the Lawrence County, unfortunately, many roads and streets are in poor condition. And again, one of the main functions of local government is to keep our streets in safe and drivable condition. The county, has been noted many times, owns and maintains 27 bridges. We all saw what happened in Allegheny County last year with the bridge that collapsed. And there's another major bridge right now in Pittsburgh that's shut down for replacement. And I think as public officials, safety of our citizens has to be foremost. Here in the city of Newcastle, many streets, including my own street on the North Hill of Newcastle, if you drive down it, it's actually in horrendous condition. There's numerous deep and wide potholes. And unfortunately, the city, in fact, it's in today's paper and was in last week, put out for bids all the streets they'd like to pave. The bids came in much higher than expected, and they were only able to do the base bids, none of the optional bids. All the streets on the optional bid list, they don't have enough funds to do that project, do those projects this year. Due to these facts, I believe it is in the best interest of Lawrence County overall to leave the current local use fee of $5 per vehicle in place so that we can address the transportation needs of Lawrence County. I would have liked to have voted otherwise, but I believe the best interest of the county is to keep the $5 fee in place. So I plan to vote no on this ordinance to repeal Ordinance 4 of 2020.
Thank you, Brian, very much. Loretta, any comments?
I just agree with what Commissioner Burek is saying. I know it's not a popular thing for some, but I believe the good does far outweigh the negative effects of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I'll add a few comments if you don't mind, and I appreciate the thoughtfulness that you've both put into this as we've contemplated what action we may take. Mr. Burek is absolutely right about the fact that for decades, the county has received liquid fuel dollars, at least as far back as the 1950s. And it's also noted that the County of Lawrence does not own or maintain any streets or roads. That's county government. The roads and streets are the responsibility of PennDOT or the local townships, boroughs, or the city of Newcastle. We are responsible, as was noted, for 27 bridges. That's our responsibility. We own those bridges. And I would offer that we've taken very good care of those bridges. And fortunately, we've had the wherewithal to do that through liquid fuel dollars. Well, up until about 10 years ago, it was pretty simple. There was one pot of money. It was the liquid fuel money that would come to us from the state. And I might add that every municipality in Pennsylvania, every borough, every township, every city, they also get their own check from the Commonwealth, from the liquid fuel fund. The legislature enacted a number of new laws, and Mr. Burek referenced them. There are two, Act 89 and Act 44, that restrict those liquid fuel dollars. They come to the county, but we're only allowed to use those dollars for the bridges we own. I'd love to be able to share those dollars with our boroughs and townships in the city of Newcastle, but by law, we can't do that. And then it was referenced about Act 13, which is the Marcellus law, if you want to refer to it as that. Now, the good point about that law is there's flexibility with those dollars. The county can either use them or they can forward them on to the municipalities. We have done that. There has not been a year that I can recall where the county has not given additional liquid fuel dollars to our boroughs, townships, and the city. The law that enacted or that established the option of a $5 fee went into law back in 2013. Since it's been enacted, we have 67 counties in the Commonwealth. At one point, 27 of the 67 counties had enacted the $5 fee. Two of them, Luzerne and Fulton, have since repealed their $5 fee. So we're back to 25 counties out of 67 that have this fee, meaning that 42 counties do not. So the majority of the counties in the Commonwealth do not levy this $5 fee. And as far as our neighbors are concerned, Beaver and Butler did enact it, Mercer did not. I will also note there are two other funding options for our local municipalities, and to their credit, they've taken advantage of both of these. The Community Development Block Grant Program that you've heard us reference. Good example, Elwood, you just heard earlier today, Elwood City Borough is utilizing some of those dollars to pave streets in their borough. And I know that in the past, I can think of at least two municipalities who have used CDBG money for street or road paving, New Beaver Borough, Mahoning Township. And then there's another program that's administered by the Lawrence County Conservation District. It's through the Commonwealth. It's known as the Low Volume Dirt and Gravel Road Program. And municipalities are able to apply to the Conservation District for money to assist with roads that don't have a lot of traffic, or we still have some dirt and gravel roads in the county in a few of our townships. A couple that I can think of who have utilized this program include Hickory Township, Mahoning Township, Wilmington Township, and the city of Newcastle. So credit to them for using those dollars. My point is that there are numerous funding sources available to our municipalities for the roads and streets for which they are responsible. Not to mention that they all levy, with one exception, a real estate tax. The Borough of New Wilmington does not levy a real estate tax. The other 26 municipalities do, and they can utilize dollars from their real estate tax to help assist with the roads that they are responsible for. This $5 fee for Lawrence County, as noted, was enacted in 2020 by a 2-to-1 vote. I voted against it. I opposed it then, and I oppose it now. Since it has been enacted, Mr. Burek referenced the state gasoline tax. It has gone up. The price of gasoline has gone up. And for anybody that travels the turnpike or the section of 376 that is tolled, those tolls have gone up year after year after year. And finally, I see it every time I go to the grocery store, and I think you folks all do too. Inflation is hitting people hard in their wallets and their pocketbooks. And I know people say, oh, it's only $5, but after a while, that starts to add up. So I respect the viewpoint of my colleagues, in large part because I respect my colleagues. And I know they're not taking this lightly, but I think we're going to have another split vote. And that's okay. That's the beauty of our system. It's a nice way that we're structured here. There are three of us. And then, as Brian and I have said, we used to comment about our friend, former Commissioner Tom Fee. Tom had a little saying. He used to say, the minority will have its say, but the majority will have its way. And I think you're going to witness that this morning. So while I respectfully have a different viewpoint from my colleagues, we'll move on. And I guess with that, I'll see if either of you have anything else to add.
I'm fine. Go ahead.
Brian?
Can I just have 2 more minutes, please?
Sure, of course.
And again, out of respect for Mr. Burchett and anyone else who may not understand, this is from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You mentioned the law, Act 89 of 2013, that was approved that allows counties to put this in. It says the fee for local use. This money paid into the fee for local use fund shall be distributed by the department to each participating county in accordance with the amounts collected from the county. Last year, it's paid out twice a year. And last year in 2022, Lawrence County got $403,000 from this fee. Now, this is the important part. Use of the fund is constitutionally limited to highway and bridge purposes. That is, the construction, reconstruction, maintenance, and repair of and safety on public highways and bridges and costs and expenses incident thereto. So this money cannot be used for salaries, cannot be used for wages, cannot be used for benefits, it can only be used for the construction, reconstruction, maintenance, repair of and safety on public highways and bridges. And my final 2 reasons that pushed me over the top, the municipalities I talked to said bids have been coming in. And again, I'm well aware of the inflation, but the bids for paving this past year have been coming in at 40% higher than was expected. Because of the cost to the paving companies, they've raised their amounts they bid. And unfortunately, we need as many revenue sources we can to address the road and safety projects that are needed done. And last thing, I can't comment on this, but there may be future economic development projects in Lawrence County that may occur and it will require some improvements to some area roads due to increased truck traffic. And I think that's, to me, that's the final reason that I can't vote to repeal it, because the county needs to be in a position to accommodate when a local business or industry does want to expand and hire more people. It's going to increase the amount of traffic in and out of an area, and we need to make some improvements to a local road or intersection. I think we need to have this funding mechanism in place to do that. So I have the utmost respect, and philosophically, I don't disagree one bit with Mr. Vogler, but I still think in the long run, it's in the best interest of the county to leave this fee in place. If this was to put a new fee in, I would vote no. But since it's already been in place for 3 years, I just can't vote to repeal it at this time. Thank you for allowing me those comments.
Certainly, thank you. Loretta, anything else?
Nothing, thank you.
So we have a motion on the floor for proposed ordinance number 1 of 2023. The ordinance would then ultimately then rescind the ordinance that's on the books right now, ordinance number 4 of 2020. That ordinance implemented the $5 fee. So as I stated at the outset, that a yes vote for the ordinance number 1 would do away with the $5 fee. A no vote would keep ordinance 4 of 2020 in place. Am I saying that correctly? So that when we go to vote, a yes vote means the fee goes away, a no vote means the fee stays. Just so we're all of that understanding. So it's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 1. And by the way, I will note, this ordinance has been appropriately advertised in the as per Sunshine Law. So we had to do legal ads, and I think more than once. Does that sound right, Vanessa? We have more than one ad. I think the law stipulates that. So it was appropriately advertised. If there are no other comments or concerns, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
No.
Commissioner Buick,
No.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion
the
fails.
motion fails. Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have a couple of announcements. The commissioners will reconvene a week from today, public meeting on Tuesday, May 2 already. April's coming to a quick end. This year is flying by. And then also next Tuesday, Commissioner Spielvogel chairs this board. The Opioid Advisory Board will hold their public meeting. Is that still on for next
Yes,
week,
it
to
is.
your knowledge? Thank you.
Yes.
That'll be at 12 noon, also in the commissioners' meeting room. Any other announcements that you can think of?
No.
Okay. Before we adjourn, I will reopen the floor for anybody that might have a county-related comment or question.
I have a question. How many bids were there total for the Elwood City project? 2?
That's why we keep Vanessa around. I was gonna guess and say 3.
And I honestly,
I'm pretty sure
I
there
couldn't
were 2.
remember. Now, Dave opened them here, didn't he, at
Yes.
one point? Yeah.
Yeah.
Debbie, if you wanna come up, I'll double check my notes from last.
Thank you.
The sad thing is I was here, but I can't remember. So, anything else, Debbie? Do you need a packet? I'll give you my packet. Any other comments or questions from our folks in the audience? We appreciate your joining us today. You're always welcome to come back. Closing comments, Mr. Burek, anything else?
No, this was the toughest meeting I had yet, but I have so much respect for both of my colleagues.
I'm sorry, I just happened to think of this. I do appreciate all of the research that Mr. Burek went to, because this is a lot of things that I didn't know. And it's an education. I appreciate that.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, ma'am. Brian, anything else?
It's just, I'm very appreciative. I've served on 2 prior boards, and I've never seen or experienced the level of respect and cooperation among the Board of Commissioners that I've experienced since I've been back. And so I just want to compliment both of you on that we keep each other informed. Even when we disagree, we're not disagreeable, and I respect both of you. And this was a tough vote for me because I had strong feelings both ways, but I explained why I voted the way I did. So
You certainly did. I understand. Thank you.
thanks.
Loretta?
Very well said. If we agreed on everything, people would get suspicious of us, I think, But just to be able to have the discourse that we do, and I say it all the time, Dan, that my first time running, and Dan was running as well, and he would say that, the courthouse becomes stabilized, people are getting along, there's respect for everyone. I didn't understand what he was saying. And then you visit other counties and know that there is so much turmoil and the courts don't get along with the department heads and there's all of this friction. But I appreciate you saying that, Brian, because I've only lived in this warm, fuzzy atmosphere. Even when we do disagree, that respect is there. So I appreciate it very much. So thank you.
Thank you.
One more comment, but Dan sets the tone. For
He
this
does,
place.
yeah.
He spoke last night to the Lawrence County Tax Collector Association, gave an overview of county government, explained the county organizational
Yes.
chart. But the way he conducts himself is so respectful of everybody, and I appreciate it. And the county is blessed to have somebody with your disposition to lead this board.
I'm good at giving compliments. I'm not good at taking.
Well,
Thank you. We, as Brian mentioned, we were invited last night. All 3 of us were invited to attend the spring meeting of the county tax collectors group. We mentioned it earlier because of the flag. But no, it was a team effort. All 3 of us had comments to make. And Treasurer Rapone was there as well. So no. It's a team effort. And yes, you've witnessed it today. There are times we're not always going to be on the same page. And that's the beauty of our system. So even though I'm right this time, I'm teasing.
we know that.
Again, you folks, the 2 of you took this issue very seriously, and you weighed the pros and cons, and I appreciate that we both did that, so. Any other business to be brought before us? Joe or Vanessa, anything we've missed? Okay, thank you. Well, thanks for joining us today. We hope you come back. And Debbie, I have a directory for you here, so may I have an adjournment motion, please?
So moved.
I think we
Second,
have
all
one.
in favor, please say aye. Aye, opposed,
Aye.
same sign. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I saw you putting this stuff down.
There's all kind of restaurants in there, so you-
I'll give